Hey, welcome back. I know it has been quite a little while for various reasons, but we're here with session something 14 or 15. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. Session something of our Ironsworn campaign. How you doing, Blink?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well right now. A little stuffed up, but not in just in a like allergies kind of way. Not in a oh my god, the world is burning and it's got me too kind of way. Just my nose never likes me to breathe. But other than that, things are pretty good for me personally. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I've been doing some more just problem solving with code and stuff, and it's been fun. I keep having this vision in my head of like someday when I have all the time in the world, I'll like make my own program that handles all this Ironsworn stuff. That's like drag and drop, and like I can just do all sorts of stuff that I do not have time to do. Where it's like, yeah, and then
That'd be nice.
I'll just have it be a game, and I'll move the cards around and all the yeah. I do not have time to pursue this, but I certainly think about it sometimes. But yeah, we are indeed here to play Ironsworn. If you're unfamiliar, somehow I don't know how you got this so far in the series and you're unfamiliar, but it is a free-to-play RPG by Sean Tompkin. You can get your own copy of it at ironswornrpg.com. And what's cool about it is it is designed to be played in a number of different ways, one of which is entirely by yourself and no GM, which is awesome. Or you can do it co-op like we're doing, where you still don't really have a GM, but make decisions together. Or you can do it traditional style, one GM and a bunch of players. It works with all of them, and without any kind of planning, the game will kind of push you in interesting directions. So we enjoy getting to explore that around here. Now, tonight, we had to do a little bit of like reminding each other what had happened since it had been it's been like what 2 or 3 weeks, something like
Yeah, it's
that.
been a while.
Yeah, for
Whoops.
good reasons,
Yeah, there were a few reasons.
but all the same, it's been a little while, so we were reminding ourselves what had happened, and so in the spirit of reminding you, who might need just as much of a of a reminder at this point,
Yeah, I need a bit of a refresher.
well, as a refresher, we kind of last left off with Gray leaving the town of Black Falls with this group of people called the Hearth that you had convinced this town was just not going to be great for them. They were kind of a small religion that was trying to spread there, all about like hedonism and enjoying life, and kind of a communism sort of thing, like really sharing what they had together in this family, and which benefited them a lot because they most of the members seemed to be members of the like not so well off parts of the city that were just barely scraping by. Some like literally homeless, some just near homeless. And you managed to convince their leader that it was not a great place to be. That there were plans to try and out him, like by killing him and or oust him. I guess is the word I was looking for. Not out him. Um, and they wanted to come with you to go, and while they were scared at first, you convinced them to go in the direction of the great pillars going into the sky. They were really nervous about that, and the reason you had to convince them was because they told you stories that were quite harrowing, with just like legends of people that like would go after them. But there was like this one story of a person who, as he was like heading towards the pillars, it like started like on an atomic level, just like deconstructing them. And first it was like their ears, so they couldn't hear their companion telling them, like they had to turn around, and they seemed wholly unaware. And it's this whole like terrible images they were putting in your mind about what is said to happen to people who head too close to them, and that there's no way of knowing when you're going to cross that point. But nonetheless, you convinced them that uh, it was the way to go. I can't remember exactly what you said that got them that way. Um, I think it was along the lines of like those people would need them most, something like that. Like people who lived
Um,
closer. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
It was something like that. I want to say, and
We'll go with that.
yeah, it was something in that direction, and started heading off for just the first town you could find off on the road towards the pillars. And
Yeah.
along the way, you had stopped in what was it? It was like a glen or something. I can scroll back through my
Yeah, just
rolls.
kind of like a woodsy glen, I think is
Yeah,
what it was.
I think so. Well, it was something along those lines, and you had, while scavenging for supplies for everybody, we went off on you finding what seems like something that we've actually been kind of searching for since session one: moth musk, an herb, flower, or whatever that your at least surrogate mother had urged you before going off on an adventure, that the only way she would accept this is if you promised her you would get some of this for your own protection. We've never really gotten a chance to explore fully, like, what it is, why it would protect you, or anything like that. All we know is that she thinks it's very important, and you agreed to do it. So, with that, why don't we fade?
So yeah, I've been keeping my eye out.
You have, and you finally found some. So, I imagine, as I mentioned before we went live, that what probably happened was something along the lines of, like, you were scavenging and, like, foraging for supplies, and along the way, like, while you were looking for stuff, you like saw a moth, and then another, and some others, and, like, as you were looking around, you found, like, wait, there are way more moths around here than there should be. Hey, thank you for that. Like, there was just, like, a suspicious concentration of moths, and it led your eyes towards where they got even more so, and there were just, like, moths perched all over what has to be moth musk. It seems that something draws them to it, and that's where it gets its name. You probably actually, as an herbalist, know that it is just like, yeah, there's some kind of spore or something that it
Just,
releases
yeah,
that they
Intuition.
that they either eat, or at least, like, it's like a pheromone to them, and they moths always congregate around them. And yeah, now we've long talked about how, like, since session one, that it would not just be a matter of, like, once you find it you can get it, but that there would be some trick to harvesting it, that it might be somewhat dangerous or a little bit more involved at least. And we need to figure out what that is. Like, what makes moth musk so tricky? Oops, sorry about that. What makes moth musk so tricky? And
Maybe you have to boil it down to boil it to a certain temperature before you can use it.
oh, like, it's really finicky and, like, almost scientific, like how to make use of it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
otherwise it's
feel like I
ruined.
wouldn't. I feel like I wouldn't know this though. I feel like because Aga didn't really tell me about moth musk. She just told me how to find it. So I
Yeah.
feel like I have to ask someone.
Okay. So you think the challenge will just not be as much the harvesting it, but just the making use of it later?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, yeah. If that's what you're interested in, then we could easily just have you pick this up now, and then it just indeed won't really have much of an effect, or we don't really even know what exactly it's supposed to do. Do you think you know what it's supposed to do? You just don't know how to make it do that, or are you left out on that as well?
I think I'm completely in the dark about it.
Okay.
She just insists that I imagine it has like healing properties of some sort. But
Right.
I just don't know what.
Okay. Do you, like, is that something that Gray is like, is that something that you know that you don't know? Like, you feel like there's something you don't know about this to the point that you want to pursue it more, or as far as you're concerned, like, when
Yeah.
you pick it, like, you're done, you've got it.
Yeah, I definitely want to harvest it because I think almost 100% that it's hot. That's moth musk.
Right.
But then I want to ask people who might be familiar with it because obviously it's not
Yeah. Okay.
indigenous to where I'm from. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. There. Sorry about all that noise. I had a shoe that was, like, sitting on the mic stand, and it kept, like, wobbling back and forth. And I finally kicked it off, so it's no longer getting that, like, hollow sound traveling all the way up the tube. I was like, get off there, shoe.
get off.
Yeah, it kept just, like, doing that little bit of a wobble that just, like, really carried through it way too much. Cool. Well then, yeah. Let me see. Did we? Yes. Okay. You found that opportunity came when you were indeed doing a resupply. So presumably your sheet already reflects the resupplying that happened. I think we took care of all of that.
Okay.
So we could easily have you be coming back to wherever you all have made camp in this glen, and with this moth musk in tow, however you would carry it. Are you just like grab it by hand and are you carrying it like that, or do you like store it in something? Like how?
Yeah, I think I. Oh wait, I don't have my dagger anymore. Yeah, I think I just pick it and store it in one of my
Just some pouch or something.
pouches. Yeah,
Yeah.
herb pouch.
As an herbalist, I have to imagine you've got no absence of them. We haven't exactly established like, oh, you're out of pouches, man. There's no room. Done.
Definitely have pouches.
Well, yeah, I think when you get back, let's see, they'd probably be like while you were scavenging, they were probably tasked with like getting a fire going. Like the understanding was that you were going to come back and have something to eat,
Hmm.
and your resupply was successful, so I'm sure that happened. You've got some stuff to eat. Um, but yeah, they were busy with that, and it seems like they're probably like it seems they're having enough success to get like a little fire going, and people are just starting to huddle around it because it's really cold. Um, and yeah, if you want to ask any of them, this would be your opportunity. Or if there's anything else you'd like to get done during this scene, we can do that. Otherwise, like we can just continue on the road.
Yeah. I think I also want to take some time to look through the book that I have.
Oh yeah, okay. There's definitely
But
time to do that.
um so yeah, I want to know if I find anything right away
Okay, let's see. How
about yeah.
I feel like this would best be represented as honestly just like secure an advantage. You're taking the time to it would be with your wits to just like take the time to read this to like build up towards you know being able to do this ritual someday. Because I it's certainly not like there's nothing like dangerous about reading this book to do it like, oh, we're gonna do a face danger or anything like that. And
Mhm.
there we're not like ready to do, I guess it would either be that or we could do gather information with you, just like it's you could kind of treat the book like a person that has answers to questions you have.
Mhm.
And so we could treat it as if you were asking the book a question and finding the answer by reading it. I
Okay.
guess if you have a like specific question in mind, that would probably be the best way to do it. If you're just trying to like generally learn more about the ritual, then we should probably just do like secure an advantage. So is there something in
Yeah.
particular you want to learn?
Um I just want to figure out how to transfer a soul to another body, but I imagine that this book is really thick and like
Oh
has
yeah, and there's a lot of
like
unrelated
really tiny
information
writing,
in
so it's
there.
like,
Like
yeah.
it's not only about that, so yeah, there's a lot of time spent like finding the right places, and he didn't exactly write it with somebody else reading it in mind, so it's he didn't
Mhm.
comment his code very well. Like it's all over the place, and if you know it, you know it. And there's probably a lot of weird shorthand that you have to get used to begin with. So it's a process to
Mhm.
like truly decipher it, even though it's written in theoretically your own language. But like it's his version of your own language, and it's meant for just his mind to read quickly. So there's a lot of like references to things that are like with some word you've never heard of, but like he references it in some other part of the book, and you have to like keep going back and forth to find like what the fuck is he talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a process, but yeah, I know the things we established before were that like that he directly told you at least, or that you'd need the book, like that was the main thing, and that
Yeah, we
it
know
had to,
it's in
yeah, we
there.
know the secrets are in there, and that on Flint's part, that I would have to like there'd have to be like an emotional, oh, there'd have to be an emotional connection with the body, either positive or
Mhm.
negative, but like they would have to be really strongly tied one way or another, to allow the transfer. And then otherwise, I think there was some reflections that my soul was gonna have to make on like what caused the removal to begin with, to like kind of prepare myself to acknowledge the past and be able to move forward.
Mhm.
Which we didn't have a lot of details on, but my understanding when proposing it was like it was going to be like a trial of the soul, like a kind of spiritual thing of like really encountering and confronting your past in a like mechanical kind of way. Like we'll have some roles involved with that, not just like okay, I did it and I'm like I've reflected and I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So some stuff that Flint will have to do, some body type stuff, and then yeah, the rest of the details of like these are the specific things you need are in the book. So yeah, I still think it's probably best just do it as like secure an advantage, and then this will also just give you the like fictional positioning to be able to know the right answers when the time comes. Like you know what
Okay.
things to acquire and buy. Like we don't like as players, I don't know that we're ever gonna have like the specific answers because that'll just be too
Yeah.
convoluted. Like there's no such thing as magic, so sorry to spoil that for anybody. But this will mean that your character is certainly getting more familiar with the things that you need to do. So
Sounds good.
let's make
Let's
our first
secure an advantage.
let's make our first roll of the night. So yes, this will be with wits. I wish I could breathe like a regular person. It'd be fantastic.
Oh, no. Breathe right nasal strips.
Yeah, they will have met their match. That will not do enough. All right, let's see here. Wits roll. All right, getting started with a weak hit, and only because one of your challenge dice was the max possible. It was being a jerk. Let's see here. All right, quick and simple. Your advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum. So it's probably like you're trying to get some reading done, but then yeah, somebody from the group distracts you or something, and like starts up a conversation, or either that, or like even if not directly talking to you, there's just enough talking around you that it's hard to focus. So like you get a little bit of it, but all it does is give you +1 momentum. So you're starting your way of figuring out like what you need to know, but there's much left to figure out in here. But hey, take +1 momentum. Get started on that track.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Lost.
Now, speaking of magic, welcome, Wick. It turns out that all you need is friendship to get that soul back in the body.
That's all it was. Damn it.
But like real friend, like really real friendship.
Oh, maybe I just didn't have that yet. Really real friendship.
The really real Wendy. So yeah, you get some reading done, and yeah, was there anything else you wanted to do around here, or shall we continue on our journey?
I do want to ask around about Moth Musk.
Okay.
I just feel like does
So yeah,
anyone...
maybe after like somebody interrupts your reading, like you kind of close the book, but take that opportunity, like join in on conversation.
just kind of pull out the supply that I got, and whoever's next to me be like, "Hey, do you is this Moth Musk? Do you know?"
I don't see any
I don't
reason
know
why
who's
they.
next to me.
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't tell you. Let's just do an oracle roll to see whether or not they know. Like, it's not like you have to convince him to be like, "Oh yeah, I want to be tight-lipped about it."
But
That's true. We did establish it's whether or not they know, and like,
yeah.
this is reflective of like the group in general. Because if they know, they'll happily tell you. All right, I put it at like 50-50. It's kind of a weird thing.
Okay.
Let's see.
That works.
Yeah, they're familiar, and yeah. So this person, let's flesh them out a little bit. Let's make a new member of this group. Since you're gonna be traveling with them for a while, we should figure out a little bit more about some of these people. We got Glenn, their like leader, and Kimura, the your way into Glenn to begin with, who's become a little bit more jealous and protective, and was all like, "You stay away." We know Geethan is probably among... Or wait, no, Geethan was... I forgot. I think we wound up saying Geethan was...
A woman.
I know, but I can't remember if we established that she was at that, like, dinner party or not.
I assume she was.
I thought so. I think we said that. So Geethan's probably there with you as well, having abandoned her project. And And let's see, this is somebody else, though. So this person... Let's find out who they were. So we have... What guide? Oh, yeah, no wonder they know about...
What's
No,
all the G names?
no, not their name. They are a guide.
Oh, okay. I thought that was their name. Guide.
No. Yeah, no wonder they know about Moth Musk. They're somewhat of a nature guide. Okay, so they're familiar with the road as well. And let's see, their goal in general, spread faith. Yeah, but we
Whoa.
indeed.
Spot on.
I know the whole group is about that. So clearly this person doesn't deviate from the just core tenets of the group that much. Like they're kind of a you're following along, and then they just want to spread that faith. This is probably one of the people that that also like Kimura was taking to the streets to actually spread the word in person sometimes. And let's see, they are resourceful, adventurous. This is working this is going really well for you, and them having information about Moth Musk for you, and confused. Okay.
Are they tired?
Well, this is just...
Maybe it's been a long day.
As a descriptor of them, like, in general, like, they just tend to be a little bit, I guess, flighty and confused, easily. And then, let's see, a couple more things. We can get a name. That would probably be important. We have... Thamon. So there you go. No G name.
Yay.
So we have Thamon the guide, and, yeah. They have a lot of reasons to know a lot about this. Like, so I imagine Thamon's knowledge would probably be more specific than just somebody in general. Like, once we got resourceful and adventurous and guide in there, like, it's not just like, oh, I've heard of Moth Musk and that is it. Like, probably know a thing or two. So yeah, Thamon will be like, yes, this is Moth Musk.
Yay. What is it used for?
What is what use?
The Moth Musk.
Oh, Moth Musk, yes. I think it's just like he's often like distracted by other things and like only half paying attention. Like when he said this is Moth Musk, he was like only like side-eyeing you, like, yeah, that's Moth Musk, and like still paying attention to the other conversation. And it's like always multitasking a little too much, thinking that he can handle it, but he clearly can't. Moth Musk, yes. It's, well, that, what you have there, nothing.
It's used for nothing?
If like that, it's used for nothing. Why?
Is it used for anything, ever?
All things are used for any... Sorry, could you restate the question?
What can Moth Musk be used for?
Oh, what can it be used for? Well, if we're... I mean, in theory, it's a wide variety of uses, mostly curative and preventative. Of course, getting it to that state is no easy feat.
Can it transfer souls to bodies?
Let's see what the answer to that. Like, that's gonna require a roll to figure out. Like, let's see what kind of answer this is.
Can you imagine if that
one.
is what it's worth?
It's like, that's it.
And then I turn the next page in Muko's
like,
book.
Oh, Moth Musk.
That's the main ingredient.
It turns out that the moths were thought to be the carriers of souls, and so yeah. Let's see. Let's do a gather information then and find out. Since this opens up the possibility that the answer might be strange or problematic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I'm gonna do it that way this time. Let's see. Where's the thing? There we are. So gather information, which you're definitely doing with just your heart. Just nice conversation.
Mhm.
Fuck, hello, where is it? It's... I had it, and then I looked somewhere else. I'm clearly just as confused as Themon.
You're taking on Thamon's
I know, it's
personality.
a little too closely. Alright, what? Where the hell did it go? Where's it? Compel, there we go. Found it. I found it, everybody. We're
No.
fine. Okay.
Sounds good.
Alright, continue with another weak hit, which in this case means the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger, envision what you discover, and take +1 momentum. So at least you're continuing to build the momentum, but let's see. It's not like a dire threat where it's like, oh no, if you even touch that, then his soul is forever dead. Like, it's nothing that bad, but I think what should be complicated about this is it's like, yes, but like it can be, but there's a danger with it. So like, what
Or
might...
maybe it's just a really complicated spell. Like
Well,
maybe
complicated isn't
that's
really
just
dangerous. That's just
oh
involved.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
the
mean, I guess it
fumes are
does say it
poisonous.
complicates your quest or introduces a new danger, so I guess complicated is complicates. So that makes sense.
The fumes are poisonous.
Oh yeah, that would be a nice complication to it. Like, it can be done, but the preparation, yeah, in order to prepare it, it makes these noxious, toxic fumes. I like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think he'll say that, and still probably not provide like a hell of a lot of details because he keeps just giving you only like the bare minimum and then like not paying attention anymore. But
Maybe Glenn's telling a really funny joke and he's trying to pay attention.
something like that. Um, he's just like really into whatever y'all are eating that night. Just like, this is delicious.
More pigeon stew.
So yeah, that's what you learn from this is that it does have a use in that, but it requires some preparation, and doing that like utterly fills probably in a wide area like quite the noxious fumes and like very toxic.
Okay.
But that he has at least heard that yeah, like maybe it's something like the moths are the moths exist on both sides. Like moths that have consumed the musk have been known to travel beyond this veil of the world into the lands of the dead and beyond. And so as a result, they've been known to help bridge those sorts of gaps in certain rituals, but that, the danger thing.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Oh, the complication should totally been like, yes, but you can't harvest the musk itself. You have to crush the moths who have eaten it. Like, just
No.
make you kill moths. But no, it wasn't that. But that seems to have some kind of connection through the way that the moths process it. So yeah,
Maybe this is why Aga wanted me to find it.
yeah, maybe
Just
it's
in
like your
case.
1-up mushroom.
Yeah.
Gives you another shot at it. All right. Anything else before we hit the road?
I don't think so.
All right. Then let's see
I'll
if we
have to
can
continue reading this spell book later.
Yeah, I mean, we can probably imagine that in general you're doing that when you have an opportunity. And that I don't know that will necessarily give you the benefit like every time. But yeah, we have you on an adventure to the obelisk itself, and let's see if we can hit another milestone. So, undertaking a journey. This is with wits, and we have Uh-oh. We do have our first miss of the evening.
No.
I know, right? You are waylaid by a perilous event. Pay the
Too
price.
soon.
I imagine, like, y'all are packing up in the morning and something happens. Like, maybe you've been followed or something, because you're not that far out of town. Like, what if word got out that, word spread that these people were leaving this way in a, like, Pharaoh-like way. Like, you guys have reached the Red Sea, and then Pharaoh comes up behind you, and, yeah.
So someone from the town, Black Falls town.
I think
maybe
so.
followed
Hold
us.
on, I do apparently have I wasn't capturing your video, right? It did that thing where it froze it again, but I fixed it.
Okay.
It wasn't through Discord, it was just OBS stopped capturing it.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Man, it's doing it every time. I can't minimize it without it doing it. That's a shame.
There you go.
Yeah, I think somebody from Black Falls has followed along. Now, we established, like, you had successfully convinced Sarah that he was dead. So, or that Glenn was dead. So, I don't think it's him directly. But let's see, there's somebody else. I mean, we could do it, it could be, what's her name? You left her behind to die.
Oh my god.
And she's not so fuck, what is her name? It's been too long, I'm forgetting all these names.
Chandra.
Chandra, yeah. Yeah, let's have it be Chandra to make this a little bit more complicated. She's
gonna come after me?
one way or another has escaped that place eventually, and is still just like hobbling along and really wounded, but now she knows that you left her to die, and
Damn it.
sees you as well, as you would imagine. So we know before she's a pretty vengeful person. Oh yeah, so what if, like, you know what I'd love this to be is instead of it being when you're, like, packing up to leave in the morning, this should be like the night before you're gonna set out, and like you're woken in the middle of the night with, like, a hand clapped across your mouth, and a blade drawn, like, not against your neck, but, like, you can see it right there. Like, you're not completely helpless, but in a bad spot. Unless you think that's too harsh.
No, I mean that works.
All right, so yeah, in the middle of the night, you awaken to Chandra's hand on your face and her knife pulled, her eyes just staring daggers into you. Let's see, what would she say in hushed tones, knowing all these people are here with you? 'Cause she doesn't give a shit about them.
Just probably you left me to die.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's any, like, we know she's vengeful, and I'm wondering if she's immediately gonna try and just, like, kill you, because we know that that's how she tends to deal with people and her problems, or if there's any amount of, like, her, like, giving you a chance to like, explain yourself. Because, like, it wasn't a full-on, like, complication, and this event certainly is perilous and dangerous as is. We're on the knife's edge here, so, like, maybe there's, like, a moment, but just one, to get her to calm down. No, you know what? I'm gonna roll an oracle on this. Let's find out the right answer. Let's see whether or not you have a moment to. Yeah, what's up, Hunter? Also, if so chat, if anybody would like to help us out here, as we're always looking for suggestions. How likely? So we have a vengeful person that Gray left to die when she was captured by, like, torturous death cult. Well, presumably torturous. I guess we don't know that for sure. A potentially torturous death cult captured this person, and Gray left her to die. She's a vengeful person. How likely would you rate it that Chandra is going to give Gray a chance to explain herself? Almost certain? likely, 50-50, unlikely, or small chance. How would you rate that? I know I'm
I
leaning
think it's.
towards unlikely.
Oh, I think it's 50-50.
Hunter says
I think.
unlikely.
I think Chandra is a little bit um mood swingy, and
She is, and you did at least have a bit of a developing friendship with her before that happened, sort of.
yeah. I
It
think
was
upon seeing me, she might have softened maybe a little bit just because there was some bonding between us. But she's still angry. It might have been like really mixed feelings. I
uh,
think it's 50-50.
I don't know, Hunter. Did that sway you?
Hunter
Wickinator
says
seems
no.
to say you killed my father. Prepare to die. This seems to be some votes more towards the
I didn't
unlikely.
kill her father. I killed her.
Her
Her.
chances of survival.
Like,
Apparently not fully, but is what happens when we leave a character to just have their fate off screen. We can bring him back whenever it's dramatically appropriate.
yeah.
But yeah, I think based on that, based on the what's chat saying, we're gonna have to go with unlikely here. Who knows? It might still come
Damn
up
it.
your way. Okay. Yeah. The no in this case, like I was looking at what the numbers mean. I didn't specifically phrase the question first, but the unlikely means no, she will not like she's not going to give you a chance to explain herself or just explain yourself. Now, you have a chance to defend yourself physically. Like she's not just gonna be like, and knifed and game over. But however, I think we need to just open up combat with basically you've been ambushed.
All right.
And we'll use those
So yeah,
rules.
it's gonna
So
have to be hand-to-hand combat defense because I really don't have. Maybe
yeah,
maybe I have my sword on me. Maybe I can draw it in a way.
maybe not like on your person right now, but near enough by that you could get it during
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna
combat.
roll.
Also, just
Oh wait, I can't
because,
roll. She's got me wrong.
well, you might be able to break free from that. Also, just because she's starting out not like going straight into combat without giving you a chance to explain yourself doesn't mean that you can't necessarily convince her along the way to stop. Just making sure you understand that.
True.
Your choices are your own. You can take this as far as you want to, but just know that that option is available. It's just not starting off as an option.
Okay.
So let me scroll to the combat moves. We need to enter the fray, and in this case, you have been ambushed, so we're gonna roll wits, and she is, I think we would call her a dangerous foe. No, not more than that. So she's going to be 2 progress per harm and inflicts 2 harm when she harms you. Let me fill this out on the sheet. All right, put this in slot number 4. All right, this is the fight with Chandra. Ba-boop. And let's set that to just be dangerous. Dangerous. All right, 2 progress per harm, 2 harm when she harms you, and let's make the wits roll to find out how this fight begins. So we've got the scene pretty well painted in terms of like what the positioning is when we start, but you make the wits roll, and then we'll see what happens as a result. So we have another miss. So combat begins with you at a disadvantage. Pay the price. Your foe has initiative. That kind of works a lot with the imagery we have going on right now. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you are starting at a disadvantage. You know, knife right in your face with her hand over your mouth. You waking up from sleep. It's we might describe that as a disadvantage. Now,
A little bit.
pay the price. It doesn't have to be harm. Oh yeah, you're going into this with some low health. Forgot about that.
Damn it! I thought I was healed when I was
Up to
at the.
1.
Oh.
As I recall, like some of it was put into your health specifically. Some of it was had to be used to get rid of your wounded condition. That's how I recall it. So you've done better. You're not looking so great right now. So I'm not going to be as mean as to start off with, like, and she cuts you, lose health. But it should probably be pretty bad. If nothing else, it may just be the loss of spirit on that from, like, it is a terrifying wake up.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Which,
I'll agree with that. Nobody wants to wake up like that.
not really. I know I don't. I can only speak for myself, but I think it's a relatively common experience. However, that does mean that she will harm your spirit by 2, which brings that down to
Damn it,
0.
Chandra. Just,
Now, unlike supplies, spirit doesn't immediately, like, give you a condition as soon as you hit 0, but it's a bad place and you're utterly terrified. I mean, I can't tell you what your character feels or your emotions, but there's good reason to be utterly terrified right now, and the sheet certainly seems to agree. And she has initiative, so she's got you a little bit more on the reactive defense. You said you would want to roll away to try and get your sword?
I want to throw her off me first, because if she's got a knife, I want to, like, kind of just push her away in
Okay.
some way that
It's
gets her off me enough to roll over to my
okay.
sword.
I mean, I think we could represent that easily enough as a face danger.
Okay.
It's kind of a good catch-all for defensive sorts of stuff in combat. Are you doing this by just, like, muscling your way through and shoving her off, or, like, wriggling your way out? Which, at least mechanically, will probably work a little bit better. Throw your sheets in her face. Man, I don't know how you go camping, Wick, but I don't know how many.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, you could. Well, you could certainly. That sounds like something, like, if you break free, something that you could more easily do, like, as a secure an advantage afterwards. Granted, you kind of have to have initiative to do secure an advantage type stuff. I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's more of a you have the initiative
or
thing.
maybe I grab a bit of dirt that because I assume I'm laying. Oh wait, no, there's snow.
Yeah.
I'm laying on snow. I could just grab an ice chunk, like maybe one of my hands are concealed, and I grab an ice chunk and kind of just
Yeah.
bash it against her head or something.
Could do that. If you do that, that's sounding kind of like a clash where, your foe has initiative and you're fighting in close quarters, but, like, you kind of, like, while on the defense like that, just find a way to scramble and harm them a little bit. So if you want that, that's more of a clash thing.
And
But if you just want to break free, then you got a little bit more in terms of, like, options of what stat to use if you're trying to face danger. So which will it be?
Wait, would you say? If I'm trying to break free,
You got a little bit more in the way of, like, how you, like, what
more
stat to
face
use.
danger.
If you have face danger, then there's ways to justify it being a few different stats. If it's clash like that with bashing her in the head with some snow while she's right there on your throat, that'll
Wait,
probably.
then maybe I should use edge, and maybe I really should just try to roll away.
Just, like, wriggle your way out. Okay. Then yeah, that'll be an edge face danger. And let's see how that goes for you. Another miss. This is
No.
I know. We're maybe made this complication on the road a little mean. I did not remember what
Even
your
with
stats
the
were.
2?
Yeah,
Oh.
you rolled minimum, and the challenge dice were reasonably high. High enough, anyway. So, yeah, a miss on a face danger. You try and wriggle your way free, but it's not working. She's got you too well right now. You fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price. So, yeah, I think you try and wriggle free to get to your sword, but she's, like, I imagine she's, like, kind of big a little bit, and she's, like, leaning her weight into you, and it's just really hard to break free from that. She's pretty strong and determined right now. But it looks like she's like working her way up to, like, she hasn't stabbed you yet because it's hard to do that while looking you right in the eye since you were companions for at least a little bit. Like, she wants
Hmm.
to, but she hasn't worked her way up to like doing it yet. So I think instead she's still just muttering things. She's like working her way up, muttering things to herself about what you did and what she's been through. Um, oh, I guess we should remember though. She is also like uh, uh, maimed, so like
Yeah,
she's strong, but also a
but
little
not
bit
that strong.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
So let's see. What will the actual like pay the price on this be, other than just not breaking out? Because if it's just that,
Yeah.
because if all it is that you don't break out, then that's basically like you got a free
Maybe
one.
she just bruises my trachea. Tegan, stop it.
Yeah, I could certainly do that. That would be a hit to health again. I
No.
don't know. All right. Yeah, she hasn't like stabbed you, but yeah, leaning in too much. You're like trying to cough and it's choking you a little bit. Um, let's bring that health down by 1, and then since it's supposed to go down another 1 and you don't have that, your momentum goes down by 1. And we
Damn
need to
it.
make. Oh, you know what we didn't do before that I should have done, and you might have been able to gain an initiative off it. When she hit your spirit, we needed to do an endure stress roll. So there's a chance we need to walk this back a little bit. 1 second. First, that
Okay.
endure stress roll, because you might have gotten a strong hit on it, in which case you're good. And then you have initiative. Um, let's see. So your stress was at 0, or your spirit was at 0, but you get to roll heart if that's higher, which it is. So let's see. This might be your saving grace. All right, no, it's just a weak hit, so nothing changed on that. But now that what just happened, we need to also have you endure harm. Another opportunity to, in theory, get a strong hit, but we got to roll your iron. Yeah, it's another weak hit. So again, nothing really changes. It's just you suffer the health and then you move on. So you're sitting there, coughing there under her leaning weight. The world is starting to get a little bit fuzzier right now with your health going down and your spirit going down.
Damn
Uh,
it. And now I can't even talk to her to convince her because she's damaged my
oh, you might be able to.
my throat.
There's nothing saying you can't. It's just making it difficult.
Let's just say it in a raspy voice. Chandra.
Hey, you might be able to use this opportunity to just like compel her to uh,
Okay.
like that you're not to kill you. That she can't do it.
Yeah, I
So
just
what do you
kind of
try and
plead
cough
with
out?
her and just like, I didn't know where you were. Please.
Ooh,
I'm
that.
glad to know you're okay, but don't do this.
So you're going to lie to her.
I didn't know where she was. I'm not
You
lying.
you directly left her when you saw her being taken away by them. Like you had a moment to in theory intervene, but decided that there were other more important things.
There were at that point, but I didn't know where she was taken to. But I mean, I had thought I'll get to her later, but then I just wasn't able to. It's a half truth. I
It is, but that's. What do you think, Chad? Is that true enough that it's worthy of being truth, or is there enough being concealed there that it's more of a lie? Because Shadow is not always just complete out and out lies, but also just trying to not reveal that there's more to the truth. Um,
I mean, I could have gone right after her, but
I think
I mean,
that's
it was a choice. It doesn't mean that I don't
I think there's
didn't
probably enough
care.
truth in there that you can get away with using hard on that. All right, let's see. Wick says she feels abandoned. Blink didn't even try. Let's see what happens. I want to give you some possibility to get out of this without dying.
Well, she was kind of.
Oh
Chandra was
shit!
kind of.
A double 10 complication.
Damn it.
You rolled maximum, but so did all of the dice. Oh man, you. If it
No.
were, if it weren't for those challenge dice just being such jerks, whew, this is not a good time to have the worst kind of critical failure happen to you.
No, it's not.
Uh, I don't think there's any question about what happens. Like, they,
No.
like, the worst possible thing to happen right now by far would be like that, like, you protesting just gives her that last fuel of like almost like that's what she was waiting for, was for you to try uh and say it was okay, and she just wants to shut you up. And it's not like instant kill, but I let's see, it's got to be not only just that she does indeed stab you with that knife, but it's full on complication on top of that. Jeez.
I'm already maimed for life.
I know, right?
Thanks a lot, Chandra.
Already
Chandra.
maimed. You're no
Agreed.
longer wounded. You very well might be soon. Double 10 complication though. I gotta make sure that this is bad enough to feel like it's holding true to that. Without it just being a full-on like instant game over, because that's just boring. Granted, it wouldn't be an instant game over. You'd wind up having a face death move, in which case there's an opportunity to maybe come back from it.
Plus, you're still half alive.
Yeah, I'm alive somewhere. I don't have a great way to get back. But yeah, I'm struggling to come up with something else that makes more sense than like just utterly plunging that knife into like to your heart. At the very least, wounding you again, and
Maybe she just goes for my jugular.
I think we got to go with what makes sense here. And yeah, so
Maybe not the heart, but something still very vital.
well,
A major artery.
the question is less about fictionally what she does and more about like mechanically what can I do that feels like it's warranting all of this. Because like both of those things would in theory be mechanically probably the same thing. Like, does she just make you face death right now? If you don't want Blink to die, you could always have her captured and brought before the cult. Which is why she was spared. Well, Chandra doesn't. Chandra has good reason to not give a shit about. Well, I guess that's why Chandra was spared. I see what you mean.
Oh yeah, maybe they sent her out to find me.
Yeah, it's her own like deal of like we'll get you off, but we could. Just feels. I don't know. It feels a little weak sauce for a double 10. Feels like being nice. And I think we should let me look at the table again. Admittedly, this sort of decision it was a double 10 complication and a decision like this that ultimately led to my last character dying. So let me check this table again. Like the face death table is you're brought to the brink of death, glimpse into the world beyond, roll plus heart. On a strong hit, you're cast back into the mortal world. On a weak hit, like as long as you don't get a miss, you're not just dead. There's a way to continue on, which is
Could be
not
that,
bad.
yeah, just members of that town were following Chandra, and maybe it was a bigger ambush than I realized, but she didn't know it either. Could be that. And they attacked the whole group? Or do you want it really death based?
It doesn't have to be death based. It just has to feel like it's definitely gotten worse, and like in a big way, and not just like
Yeah. So
too
I think that's a
sideways.
pretty big way.
Just that there are other members that I guess we could, yeah, a big complication could be, yeah, she's not alone. There are
It
other people
could
with her
throw
that have
her off.
in this, like, you didn't have an opportunity to notice that there were other people that had been woken up in their sleeps with hands clapped over their mouths. And if it's a double 10 complication, perhaps you're not the one who has to face death, but they could well just like slaughter your group. Except the only thing is I don't want to remove them entirely either in terms of what's interesting next. It could maybe be one. You know what would be interesting? It's not all of them. Kimura is left. It's like just the two of you, and then. God, I have a tendency to try and always turn the screws more. Um, Fuck, I'm so caught up on this because I want to get that right balance between like punishing enough but not too punishing.
Hmm.
I think at the very least, some of some of the group will wind up dying as a result of this, but not all of them. There are others that'll be left to try and fight for themselves as this becomes more of a ongoing thing. Like some of them are able to kind of wriggle free. Other members, and I think Glyn has to be one of them, uh, die in the process of this, and the battle continues. And then the people who are
Okay.
left will have complicated feelings about you as a leader as a result of like right after getting out of town they lost their former leader. So let's go with that. I think we still have to probably also at least deal another wound to you. Um, but not like face death kind of wound. Just it does the 2 harm, which means your momentum is going to go down, and we'll have you endure harm to see how you take it. Let's see. Yeah, we're on a bit of a slippery slope right now. So on a miss, also suffer -1 momentum. If you're at 0 health, you must mark wounded or maimed or roll on the table. It's that thing from before. So you can
Hmm.
either, at this point, wounded is the only one available. So you can either be wounded by this, which would certainly make sense, or roll on the table where there's a chance to. It's kind of big risk, big reward. Or, well, small chance of big risk and uh, big potential reward of, like, nothing further bad happens.
Okay.
So what's your choice? Take wounded
Um,
or take your chances on the table?
I'll take my chances on the table.
All right, let's see what happens. Gonna roll a D100 here. Sorry, this escalated so much so quickly. It's a combination of okay, good. You rolled in the good part. You are battered but still standing. So you got the. You're good. Nothing worse happens. Just it continued to hurt you, but I guess you wriggled enough that like indeed she was probably aiming for your jugular or something, but it cuts your neck, but not in that vital of a spot, as you're still struggling to get free. But yeah, it's at that moment like there are other people that like uh are clearly awakened and struggling around. You can hear now in areas that you can't see all that well that you two are not alone, and there's scuffling going around. And we know that some throats got slit.
So, so Chandra knew that members from the city were with her,
Uh,
or she?
Perhaps we'll find out later. You certainly don't know in this moment.
Um. Okay. I guess I just shout at her and plea again and be like, "You are ruining your chances of survival by doing this."
Is your implication that you're going to kill her or somebody else? Like, what do you mean by that? Just to know like what stat we should be using here. Because like if you mean like you're gonna kill her, then that definitely sounds like you're trying to just like intimidate her. Um,
Um, well, because she's an outsider to the city, so she can only stay there for so long before they'll wanna sacrifice her. And although, actually, I don't know. I don't know if they promised her something, so maybe that is not the way to go about it. Um, I just say after all we've been through.
oh yeah, it definitely sounds more like just like the heart move of just pleading, basically,
Mhm. Like, this is
which
how you treat me?
which definitely takes some bravery to in that moment. Just like she like just cut your neck and you're struggling around, but you're still going the like it's all you got basically is just trying to convince her to see you as a fellow human being and that she can't do it.
Mhm.
Let's see. Does she take to that? It's probably your best option right now. Okay, so at least a weak hit. You almost got a strong hit there. Just one of those stupid challenges. It's just a little bit too high. You rolled so well. Just a little bit too much. That's still something. You won't have initiative out of it, but let's see. But in theory, you're trying to compel her to not kill you, right?
Yeah.
Which means part of it is they'll do what they want, but they ask something in return. So we can end the fight because you like. There's no point if she's not going to kill you. Um, but I mean, you get plus one momentum out of this. But there's something she wants in return. You
Mm.
you hear her say as you're like coughing out and just trying to get your senses back. Um, let's see, what would she want in return? Other than like the whole like find Muko thing is out, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for it to be
Maybe she
something like
literally just says like, um, "What have you got to offer me?" And
hey, what do you
at
have
this point,
anything?
I don't know. Could ask her just, "What do you want?"
Well, I mean, she'd otherwise be telling you what she wants anyway. So we're kind of back at the same spot.
Oh, right.
Um,
Duh.
so let's
Right.
see. We can use some oracles to find out a little bit about like what would she want now. Like if you've got a bit of a complicated history, what would she want that is not just your blood? Um, let's see. I'm gonna roll up a new goal for her to see like get an idea of what's important to her right now. Harm a rival. God damn it, Oracle. We know that's what she wants right now, but beyond that, um, presumably something else. Spread fit. You are liking some things. Um,
Dagon. Oh my God, cat. Sorry.
spread faith. I mean, what I'm reading from that. I wonder if
Maybe they
Wonder. I was gonna
brainwashed
say. I
her.
think Chandra's been brainwashed, and she's a
Yeah.
representative of that death faith now. Like she's not fully herself anymore and fully doing this out of vengeance. Like she all the more wants to bring death because she's been like brought into the fold. And I think she would okay,
Dagon. God damn it, cat.
I think she'll spare your life, but she recognizes she sees Glyn for Glyn and she wants you to finish in front of all of these people actually kill Glyn like you implied you did.
Hmm.
So she'll spare you if you do that.
Uh,
What an
She wants
interesting...
me to give up Glenn. I like
To kill him
I
here right now.
or oh to kill him.
Like, in front of everybody while all of the other members of the faith watch.
I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Alright, well, should you refuse, then the battle will recommence, but you'll be in a little bit better of a position at least, because you will like re-enter the fray, I guess, because you're not completely helpless in that same way anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what she asked. You show that you refuse, potentially just with your blade. Like, you're probably, I'm guessing you don't like say no so much as just like grab the sword and just try and kill her before. I don't know. Like, how honorable are you? Do you say no and like let her know that the fight's about to come, or do you try and take that advantage?
Um. Yeah. I think I just. I don't know where my sword is. Yeah, I think I do just make a dive for my sword and
Okay.
say like, never.
Gotcha. Well, then with that, I think you're striking without warning. Okay, well, I guess striking without warning is shadow, which you're not great at, but in theory, you'd actually be better to just like face off against her. You'd get to roll hard on that if you're just like, no, no, you and me right now. It wasn't about him. Um, you'd in theory have a much better chance at that. And so
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
I certainly recommend it. Um, Either that or okay, there's a move I've actually never made. It's not in combat move, so I always miss it. But if you want to formally do that, there's draw the circle, which is when you challenge someone to a formal duel or accept a challenge. You get to roll hard on that as well. Um, in which case there's like rules that you can set in place. Um, there's a couple of options you can choose from.
I don't know if it would be fair because she's been brainwashed.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know that she's coherent enough or like in her right mind enough to even
to like do a formal duel.
accept a duel. Yeah.
Okay,
So I don't think that would work. I think at this point it's just life or death.
so you just do
And
the just dive
instincts
for
are
this one.
kicking in for
Okay,
me to yeah.
well then yeah, let's roll your shadow and try and strike without warning. Let's see how this goes. I really hope this goes well and that you can somehow get initiative and start off strong. Because once you have that, I mean, you're a
Rolling
sword
really badly.
Like, if you have initiative, oh, let's remember, your clash is actually better right now because of your sword master. Now, granted, only if you're using a sword, which you weren't before, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Right.
But we'll keep that in mind for this, that you're pretty damaging even in a clash. I forgot about that. Well, let's see.
I'm glad you remembered.
Yeah, I just looked over at that. Sadly, though, it is like you're just not. You have too many tells. Like, you're not great at like keeping it hidden that you're about to do it. Like, she just reads it on your face. She knows what's about to happen, and she's probably looking out for it anyway. Mm-hmm. So combat begins, but with you at a disadvantage. Your foe has initiative. It's all right, and yeah, I think the pay the price is a minor one. I think she sees what's coming and she knows you're about to dive for the sword, and so like the first thing she does is she stomps down on the blade of the sword to hold it down, so like you're like trying to grab it and it's stuck. So if you want to get it, you're probably gonna have to face danger to like wrench it free from her foot first.
I guess so.
Yeah, so you're like down on the ground and she's just stomped on the sword.
Okay. I try to grab both of her legs to trip her, to knock her over.
Oh, nice. Just kind of tricky move.
Just her.
Yeah. I think there's some amount of like, because of it being more about it's not that you're just trying to overpower her like by pulling it out or anything, but indeed using a little bit of like it is a little bit of an agility thing, like just using the right
Mhm.
points to like get her off her balance and stuff like that. Um, so I could see this being edge. Like it's a bit of a weak edge argument, but like I think it's there. Um,
I think so.
yeah, it would either be that or wits in terms of just like having the expertise to know like how to knock her off balance, and either way, it's the same number, so it doesn't really matter. So let's roll some edge for you and see, can you knock her off her feet?
Okay.
Hey, there's that strong hit. That's what we're looking for. So, God, you didn't even
Yay.
need to be edge. You were any of your stats would have beaten that. So, definitely no worries. So, a strong hit on that, which means a very important thing. You're going to take back initiative. So you're definitely gonna like knock her off her feet. Um,
Grab
you
my
get
sword.
+1 momentum and are successful. Yeah, you have your sword back. Um, So you have a moment here where you actually have control of the situation. All night it hasn't really felt like that, but it's here now. What do you do?
I guess I'm still on the ground, like after knocking her over. But yeah, I
Oh,
grab
let's
my
not forget
sword.
now that you're up on your feet a little bit more, you can see yeah, she's not alone. And let's see, what would
Oh,
the
I'm
other
on my feet now.
what's up? Oh, I
I
mean
was
like you're
imagining my. Oh.
I just meant like you're
Oh,
not like on
like
your back.
figuratively. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Because I was like, I was on the ground after I knocked her over because I dove after her.
Yeah, I just meant
And
you have a little bit better visibility now. Um, There are those other people there now. You have initiative, so they're not doing anything in particular. But I just want to make sure we don't forget that she's not alone anymore. And in
how many
fact,
people are with her?
uh,
How many people do we have?
to non-fighters, but so functionally zero, in a at least in a direct sense. Um, but they have you at enough of a situation that I think it would. We probably should have done this before when the moment happened, but I think they're best represented as moving this from dangerous to formidable, just because they're more outnumbering and like there's just a lot of people here that are
Mm,
dangerous people. Um, so it's just abstracted in that way. It's just going to take
yeah.
more successes to get through this combat, as some of the things that might happen when you don't have initiative might involve them doing stuff. Um, Let me move that marker to represent that. All right, there we go. But you have your initiative, and I cut you off. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just still wanting to know how big our group is and how many people are here, but I guess that doesn't matter. I mean, mostly because I needed to decide, do I need to fight them or run away?
Right. Um. Well, like a lot of things in this game, there aren't really often specific answers as much as like it's a little bit abstracted here. There are enough people that are dangerous enough that this is a formidable battle, um, which means it's going to take a
But
it means it's going to take a while to get through them in a safe way, and you're coming at it with some pretty low stats overall. Um, so there's good reason to feel that this would be rather dangerous to do right now. I guess use that as you will.
mm,
Now you also know, in all things being on the table, because you have initiative right now and you have your sword, in theory, if you were to get a get a hit on that strike, you would have 2 harm from the sword, an additional 2 harm because you're a sword master, which would take it up to 4 right there. If you got a strong hit, I think it would be 1 more harm on top of that. So 5, like you could be halfway through the battle with 1 move right now if you pull it off. But then you're a little bit more stuck in all of this, and it might turn from there. You never know.
okay. I don't know. I think now that I got Chandra vulnerable, I want to just hold my sword up to her neck and be like, "Do you really want to do this? maybe her falling on the ground knocked some sense into her, or maybe kind of maybe she hit her head. I don't know. I want to try one more time for Chandra,
Okay.
and
And theoretically, through her, everybody else.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can do one more compel with like a little bit of a different flavoring on what this position is. Now, if you're doing it that way, that definitely sounds more like a threatening or inciting type of move. Like you're implying that she's going to get herself killed in a very direct, like this moment kind of way.
Yeah.
Though I guess at the same time, you were trying to pacify her. Um, except, but not in like a very soothing way of like, oh, there, like,
Yeah.
calm down. Yeah, I think it's most directly a threaten. You just have a little bit better of a reason to seem like you can pull it off. But let's see if she believes you. I warn you that the math is not on your side here.
I know.
Let's see. Okay, well, you pull off a weak hit. Um, kind of where we were before. Says yes, but wants something in return. Um, but because of the positioning we're in now, I don't think it'll be quite as bad as like before. It made a lot of sense that she could make a pretty big demand based on the positioning. I think this demand would have to be a little bit different. You also get your +1 momentum out of it. All right, what does she want in return while you have a sword at her throat that beyond, obvious, like it seems obvious that you would spare her, like that's just kind of part of it because the whole point is like we're not going to do this. I didn't know I had that turned on like that. Hey, well, welcome Amanda. Thank you for heading in like that. Welcome everybody. All right, what does she want that is not making you kill, like she's not in a position to say like you have to kill Glenn right now, but there's got to be something else. Just continue to stretch that imagination.
So she's convinced now it's a weak hit. Maybe she just wants safe passage out of there. Maybe she's like, okay, but get me out of this. Maybe she did come to her senses from the brainwashing and
Yeah, we could I think we could maybe roll with that. That yeah, there's like a I think there's a moment where indeed it kind of the her from before breaks through a little bit. Um I think just between us, I think it's probably a temporary thing. Like we never know exactly what state she's going to be in moving forward. Like there's probably going to be some residual effects that are going to come back at moments that we can't prepare for, unless that becomes like a direct thing to deal with and like getting her better. But yeah, I think that she has been there's a crack that the real Chandra can look through right now and say that yeah, that you need to get her out of here and help her. Like
okay.
she doesn't, she's like I think she even knows like please I don't have much time. You have to tie me up before I get. And she's like already starting to like lose it back again. Like I think it's a very clear like almost like magical kind of thing where you can see like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of thing. Like there's a moment where you got Jekyll here, who is pleading with you to restrain her before she can't control herself, and that you have to help her, and like it's already starting to fade away, and she's holding on as best she can.
Okay.
Um,
So
but that let's see how would she would need to otherwise dismiss the other people though. Otherwise, like we need to have a good way that like they leave, and that they'd be okay with this.
maybe they do capture Glenn and they do take him away. I mean, do we need Glenn?
Hey, fair enough. If you're cool with that, then I'm pretty sure they would. Anyway, this is Chandra's deal. We may have to deal with them individually or separately afterwards. Of like, they're not directly fighting you at the moment, but they may have their own like, hey, our business isn't through, and that may be what they're interested in. But for now, at least, this is what's going on with Chandra. So as she is
Means
like holding off this conversion back, what do you do now that we're out of like direct combat time?
so she says she needs to be restrained because she's
She
Shekel
thinks so
hiding
anyway.
it.
Yeah, she thinks that she won't be able to hold her end of this deal for long. And she wants to, but she's not going to be able to. And that,
Okay.
yeah, she wants to be restrained before it's
Okay,
too
so I
late.
think I just looked frantically for something to bind her hands with while the other the other people of the city are fighting others. Hopefully no one has tried to come after me yet. I can do
Yeah.
that quickly enough.
I think you can find something, like something reasonable nearby easily enough that can be used. We can just do this as like a face danger with Edge to see like can you get her bound up well enough in time. Either
Okay.
yeah, that's speed, agility, and precision. It's like all these things, like just fast knot tying and binding. So yeah, let's see how well you do. However, not fast enough. You fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events, which I think I'd rather go with that. That your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events because there's all these other people here. So like you're about to get her bound up and then like somebody comes over who doesn't know like all of your words. If they're like maybe it was quiet or something and just like comes through and slashes whatever rope or something you had that was binding her and is yeah, like they just like I don't want to just throw you right back into direct like mechanical combat, but they would like maybe this just leads into the whole like what their demands are. So uh like pushes you off of her for a moment uh and yeah, I think would just say like our business is not concluded.
Business is not concluded. Whose business?
You get the impression he maybe doesn't speak the language.
Oh.
Him, he, you took him from us, and
He was
obviously
no
pointing to
threat to
Glenn.
you.
Why do you protect him?
Because lives are worth saving, not sacrificing to unseen gods.
Um, it is. It is not of your concern. He comes with us. You go.
Oh my gosh. See, it's hard for me to make a decision because I can't fully wrap around how many people are there and like how.
A handful of combatant people.
Okay. I mean, I think I'm still gonna fight for this group, so I think I just say you'll have to fight me for it.
All right. Um, then let us enter the fray for the third time.
I don't know what else to
Yeah.
do.
I mean, we're in a bit of a narrow situation here,
I
unfortunately.
don't like strongly disagree with their religion.
Hey, yeah,
I
no,
strongly
it's what it's about. Is finding the things that their characters willing to put it on the line for. You will certainly have made some. If you pull this off, you'll have made some good friends out of how strongly you kept going when it was clearly not going your way, and like just kept very literally fighting for them. Um, if you get through this, it's going to speak well to you and their relationship. And I think could easily be enough to indeed mark a bond with them. So let's see. Feels like the one, like, just facing off. Like, you've got your sword, they've got theirs. Let's face off. Meanwhile, I think Chandra is just trying desperately to, like, she's still keeping it together, but she didn't mean like it's gonna be like seconds away, but like
Yeah.
she just is
She's
trying.
unstable.
She's very unstable, and that might come up in this combat depending on how rolls go. For now, she's a Schrodinger's Chandra. We don't know what she is. Okay, so let's roll heart and face off against just them as a group. Now, without Chandra, who is more of a, a main character, a named person, she was what was pushing. It was kind of like her plus them equaled formidable. Them alone, I think, is still just dangerous like her, because they're like a collection of somewhat dangerous mooks, but not like dangerous like she was. So I think them alone is just dangerous again, because I'll be nice. And let's face off. Complication. Well, the one that would make the most sense is this is the time, like, Schrodinger's Chandra comes up on the bad side, like, Chandra's back. But then we're just talking about how she would make this into a full-on formidable fight, and I don't necessarily want that either.
So maybe when I'm facing this guy, Chandra comes behind me with the rope that she had halfway tied onto her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like you were ready and facing him, but clearly you just didn't pay enough mind to Chandra's warning. Like, you couldn't fully, and it happened faster than you were expecting. And yeah, Chandra gets the drop on you. Is not gonna be like directly fighting you enough to make this formidable, but will be impairing you through this to, like, she is helping their side, but not as a full-on, like, stab you kind of fighter. So I think I'm still gonna leave this dangerous.
Okay.
But she's a little too out of sorts. Okay. Now you're starting without initiative again. Because indeed, as you said, Chandra's kind of wraps it around your neck, and you have to, like, struggle with that, and this guy's there, and a lot of stuff going on. It's not the best position to be in. You will... wrong thing. Where's the thing I'm looking at? Yeah, I think we're all good. You don't have initiative. What do you do to try and regain a little bit more control of this situation?
Going to try and...
Or do you just, like, clash with it and be like, fuck, and just try and slash at him while in this? As determined, you're actually going to be pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. Less that you'll be good at it, more that when it works, it'll deal a lot of damage.
I'm going to try and throw Chandra off of me. Maybe I just really heave the handle of my sword backwards into her. And maybe that'll knock the wind out of her.
Okay. Definitely sounds like an iron move to me.
All right.
So let's do it. Also, I just read your Swordmaster a little bit more carefully. It's not that it always does it. It's when you burn momentum to improve the result, it does it. And you've got not great momentum right now.
Yeah.
It might help, but it's very unlikely to. So just realize that it didn't work quite the way I had said before.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here. So I'll set your momentum the way it actually is, that it will show us things correctly. Set all your stats the way they are. Boom, boom, that, and okay. All right. Well, you get a weak hit on this presumably face danger. So you succeed but face troublesome cost. So you'll manage to, like, knock her off of you, but in the process you're either going to lose momentum, 1 harm, 1 stress, or 1 supply, which I'd have to definitely have some supply. I'll need some good explanation on why it's supply. Like we'll have to make sense of that.
Maybe one of the members of the city is looting a little bit,
Oh,
finding a sack full of food or something, and just like, oh, I need this.
just taking stuff while it up. Oh, or either that, or like in the process of doing that, like the guy like slashes at you and like cuts out like something from your like misses and cuts like part of your supplies or something. It's like spilling out on the ground and
Oh
useless.
yeah,
Maybe that works.
you can do
All
that.
right, it can be nice and make it be supply that way. It's your one of your tracks that's still got at
Hope
least
it's
a
not my
tiny bit of room
moth
left.
musk.
No, I mean it's just your arbitrary supply.
Okay.
All right, so I'll bring that down by 1, but you're otherwise successful. You still don't have initiative though, because it was not a strong hit, so you're still kind of rolling with the punches
Right.
here. But you've broken free
At
from at
least
least
she's off
her.
of me.
Yeah, she's not on you anymore, so it's not that bad. But in the process of doing that, this person who's up is a little bit more in your grill and trying to swing a sword at you, and you don't have great footing yet or anything.
Oh, I don't.
Well, it's kind of as represented by you don't have initiative.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, I still start lunging at this guy
Okay.
who's obviously trying to attack me.
Yeah, so like attacking from your heels, that's definitely what Clash is all about. So
Okay.
they have initiative, but you're doing what you can to just make it work. Um, so yeah, let's roll on iron with your Clash.
Okay.
Which is a miss. You are outmatched and must pay the price. Your foe has initiative. Yeah. I mean, as described, what makes most sense here is just you're going to suffer some harm for this. Which, since you don't have the health, is going to go to your momentum, and then we do an endure harm. Let's bring that down. Now, one thing to always keep in mind, if things get really dire, there's always the turn the tide move, which is you can do it once per fight. When you risk it all, you may steal initiative from your foe to make a move. You get to add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. But if you don't get some kind of hit on that move, you get a dire outcome because you're risking it all. And you only get the opportunity to do it once a fight. But if things are like looking black, there's that moment to try and turn it all around. But let's do let's see how you endure harm. Boop. It will be with your iron. Hey, there we go. Actually, even with your bad stat, you got a strong hit on this, which is what you need to take initiative. So I imagine like he cut you in a way that he expected, like he probably didn't size you up all that much despite all of this. Figured like that's it for her, and like figures you're done for, but you're not. And so you have a moment to get initiative here. You also will, as a result of getting a strong hit on this, you will get to either get 1 health back, which oh wait, that's only if your health is greater than 0. That's right. Never mind. You embrace the pain and take +1 momentum, so you'll get that back up to 2. And yeah, I think they misjudge you and are not fully paying attention, like turning around, like thinking it was too easy, and it was. So what do you do in this moment where you have initiative?
I think I charge after the guy again. Just yeah.
All right. Well, this time you have the benefit of it being a full-on strike because it is your initiative, as you just
Okay.
try and make him pay for this turning turning his back, and all of this stuff that's going on. This is gonna be another iron move, but at least the benefit is because it's with your sword, it'll probably deal more damage, and has the potential to deal even more. Okay. Well, you're gonna lose initiative out of this, but you will get to inflict the harm. Like you are successful. You tag him a little bit, and as a result of it, deal 2 harm, which is worth 2 boxes each. So we're gonna fill in 4 boxes here. Boop 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 boop. There you go. Now, in theory, you can try and end the fight at any time and be like, or I guess anytime when you just did a strong hit, you can try and end the fight. Um, but you don't necessarily have to fill up the track first. The hard part is getting the strong hit. So let's see, they take initiative back and begin. Let's see, what happens now? It's I think maybe let's do something that threatens the group a little bit to kind of mix things up a little bit, make it not just too monotonous of a like exchanging of blows. What if there's a I keep having this image in my mind of like one of the other group like desperately running off into the woods like through like knee-high snow, like trying to get out of there, being chased by somebody, and dot dot dot, and something else that I want to add on to that to make it a little bit more compelling and direct. Like I wonder if they run like they're running away and like are chased into you and like stumble into you a little bit, which is part of why the loss of initiative. And they are, yeah, I think they're just a moment away from being like cut down by this other person who's like coming after them and just going to make them suffer for being part of this group.
Okay.
And that in that process, with after the bump in and everything, yeah, you don't have that just like advantage anymore that you had over this other person. They're kind of regaining their feet and pressing it back in your direction.
All right. Well, since there's someone else heading our way, I guess I gotta face that guy.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying. It's not that there's anybody new, that one of the other people that was there involved already is like we get kind of a spotlight on some of the other franticness that's going on with the other people.
Yeah, you were saying that's why I lost initiative, or was it momentum?
Initiative, but that it was kind of the interaction of these two worlds that, I mean, the reason you lost initiative is because of what the dice rolled, but the flavor on what that looks like is looks like this.
Right, yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't understand because I just want to make clear he's nobody new to this conflict.
Okay. You said there was another guy that was going after one of the members of the group that was kind of heading towards my direction. So I was just thinking, well,
yeah, their focus is on the other person.
Okay. Have I defeated the guy that I was fighting?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so abstracted. You very well could have at least had a good enough hit on him that yeah, we could say it looks like that. Like you'd like cut him down. He's not necessarily dead, but he's out of combat, and then you were bumped into by this other like scuffle going on, or maybe like put on your butt, but not like otherwise hurt by it. Which is maybe that's the reason why you don't have initiative at the moment, is you had to stumble as a result of that. But this one particular person you were after before, isn't really combat capable anymore.
Okay.
So, what what would you like to do?
Um, I'd like to attack that guy that's chasing one of the group members because obviously they're not good at fighting. I'm just gonna shout to them, "Get out of here!" and go for that other guy too.
I think you could potentially do that if you were to like throw something at like they're not right in like close quarters with you at this point. So you could either like face danger to like catch up with them first and then maybe be able to get in close quarters, or you could like you could throw something from afar to kind of do this as a clash, I guess.
Okay.
Or
I mean, if they
yeah.
are indeed further away, then I might just shout to Chandra to go get Thornberry. Maybe we can make a run for it.
Okay.
Cause yeah,
I mean,
if I'm this
to be clear,
hurt
this
and
individual person is less that they're far away and more that they're not like right next to you. Um, and then I only question this just because I know before you seemed very hard lined on trying to protect all these people, and it seems like a turn from that. So I just want to make sure that I understand what you're saying and what your intentions are.
I don't know. I like it. I don't want it to be just me hopelessly fighting when I'm hurt as much as I am, and
Yeah.
like all my stats are low. So I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I do too? If that guy that was attacking this group member was really close to me, then I'd want to attempt to fight. But if he's not, then I want to attempt to flee.
Okay. Uh, totally fine. I think that fleeing is probably best represented by we could do this as a short scene challenge or something where be a few rolls to see like presumably you would want to try and flee with whoever you can get with you on your side, and this could like the successes on that could kind of reflect a little bit like how well that's pulled off and how well you are managing to escape, um, is I think the best way to kind of wrap that up in the mechanics. So let's see. Let's put that as this bottom track. Oop, clear all that. And
Although I did totally forget that I have like magic hands, so could try using that too.
yeah, you both
But I think
like
it's safest to just get out of there if I
probably.
can.
Messiah, you both do and don't have them. They're so fickle. And
Yeah.
at least from a top down perspective of the mechanics of the game, they're certainly not going to be all that likely to help you too much more than anything else. You were in a bad way when this all started, which was a shame. It was a bad time to get that roll that started this all, and then a series of other rolls as well. Damn it, where is the having trouble finding stuff tonight? There we go. Fleeing the scene. Okay. So, like before, this is going to be. Let's make this a dangerous scene challenge, which means we're trying to fill up that 10 track before we fill up 4 misses, basically. Um, yeah, we've died a few times, but I always have to remind myself exactly how it all works because it's never just like out there and right in my head of like, oh, you're right, the scene challenges. It's just one moment. Thankfully, that is the last page that I looked at in the core rulebook because it's the thing I always look up. So yes, we have our 10-box progress track. We have our 4-box countdown track, which again, I'll use this bonds track because we haven't otherwise used it yet. And yeah, so we're just going to have moves to make. So first off is, like, you make this decision. It's time to just get out of here. There's nothing you can do. You need to save as much as you can. Now, mechanically, we can either, like, all these moves are either face danger or secure an advantage, whichever is most appropriate to what's going on. But we need to figure out what they all represent. So, is there any amount of, like, corralling people first, or grabbing supplies, or is this just, like, directly, like, booking it first to get distance?
I think it's just a matter of getting distance. Yeah, like just
Okay. Well, then, that one's easy. That's pretty clearly just an edge face danger. Just use that speed, get it going. Now, I do also want to be clear before rolling this. Without otherwise doing anything to do so, right now I don't think you just are assumed to have Chandra coming with you. Since we haven't, like, earned that in any way.
okay.
I just want to be clear, and you can do that, but at this moment that is not happening. Let's see. So, edge. Okay. So if weak hit, which is mark success and mark progress, encounter a minor complication or delay, envision what happens and mark a countdown box to represent this setback. So, first off, we get a couple of boxes, and the bonds get a box, just to pretend that's fully filled in. All right, so what is the setback that happens here as you're trying to leave? I think what would make most sense is like somebody else in your group like sees what's happening and sees a turn on your face and is like pleading with you, like on their knees, like grabbing at you, like, please don't abandon us, basically. And it just is a moment where it slows you down a little bit, regardless of whether or not it stops you. It's just they're kind of holding on to you and it slows you down.
I just yell at them to run and get out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is probably a secure an advantage with, like, with heart, to just get them to let go of you and save themselves as well, which will make it no longer make them no longer in your way, and maybe save their lives, but that's secondary.
Flee for your life.
Fly, you fools, fly. Okay, let's try it. There we go. There's a strong hit. So on a strong hit, apply the outcome as per the move. So you will get you have a choice here. You get to either take control, make another move now and add +1, or prepare to act and take +2 momentum. So your next fleeing attempt or whatever could be better off, or you could just start building that momentum back up since it's a little low.
Yeah, I want to build up some momentum.
Okay.
For sure.
Which I think makes some sense with, like, building up the kind of social momentum of, like, maybe other people won't die here as well, as you get them to be like, no, we're all booking it. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's lost. Maybe other people will get to their feet. Okay. So you're able to pull that off, and they're not, like, grabbing your lapels anymore, and maybe starting to try and grab whatever they can really quickly and then just go. But by which I mean, like, in their immediate area, not like, okay, what do I want to save? But okay. So you get past that as you shake them off you and get them to come to their senses that all is lost here. But there's still so much more to go yourself if you're going to get lost in here. I assume just continue just beating feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Let us edge it up. Okay. Weak hit. So same thing as before. Progress on both sides. So there's still just things pulling you in both directions here. I think this time you'll have at least like gotten probably into the thicker woods or something when some complication happens. Minor one. It's a setback rather, not complication. Complication is a very loaded word in this game.
I just want to make sure I was able to make it to Thornberry, right? And like ride out of there.
We're figuring out exactly what happens now. We could. It could be that you.
That's what I was going for anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, perhaps you've gotten on Thornberry, but we need some kind of complication or delay involved as you mount him.
I imagine Chandra just switched again, and she's like grabbing at me,
Like
making it harder
trying
for
to
me to
pull
get
you
onto the horse.
Yeah, like trying to pull you back off the saddle. Yeah, that makes some sense. So like you're like in the stirrups and like trying to swing your leg over the other side, and she's like pulling you back down.
Like
as
make
best
up your mind, Chandra.
as
go.
best she can. So if you would like to try and resist this somehow, seems like a good opportunity for a move that can help you make this progress to just leave.
I mean, I just kick at her as hard as I can.
All right, so sounds like a. I guess it depends. There's two ways it could go. If it's about knocking her down, that's probably about iron. If it's just about like resting your leg free, so that you can stay up, then I can see an argument for edge there for just again being wily and slippery.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit more agile than she is.
Especially with
In
her.
her, yeah.
I mean, I guess you're both
Unstable.
maimed,
Yeah.
but yes, she is very unstable right now. So let's see. All right, another weak hit. So continue to get 1 and 1. Now, as soon as we get our 4th countdown box on this, we're gonna roll one. We're gonna roll like progress against whatever's filled in and see what happens. You got pretty good chances though. As long as we get another like 1 and 1, then you're probably pretty good. And even if we don't, your chances aren't bad. So one more delay / complication that happens, which I imagine would be something that indeed keeps you from just like, I guess you're successful. So you are able to escape her grasp, but there's one more thing, maybe like in the woods as you're leaving, so it's not all just like right here in camp, and we can see some amount of distance. Let's see, what's a good delay or complication that happens. Maybe just in the franticness of leaving, like the direction that you go has got like a wide stream in the way or something to have to cross.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, just something different, less just like directly people opposing you and more nature opposing you.
Slows us down.
Yeah. So you find this like wide stream that might be a little deep. It's hard to tell, and of course very icy. But like this one is not frozen over. It's directly not from the very beginning. What do you do to bypass this? Just go straight through, or you try and find a way across that's not readily apparent right now?
Yeah, I just try to coax Thornberry to go through. I'm sure he doesn't want to because it's freezing, but so
Yeah.
maybe he gives me a hard time.
Hey, we do know that your horse is mighty. It's not fearless, but you have Thornberry is a mighty horse.
He is a mighty horse.
Yeah. Strong and stout. Well, yeah, perhaps we can best let me see. I think there's a move I want to look at here.
Okay.
I think I was misremembering. I think what I'm thinking of is the companion endure harm move, and that's not what's happening right now. Not necessarily anyway. I was like, I know there's some kind of direct companion move. Right, companion endure harm. Let's see, which stat would best represent you, like, getting him to go forth? Like, probably heart, honestly. It's because you're basically compelling a horse to do something it doesn't want to do in a friendly way. Like, you're bonded.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's heart your way to get Thornberry to
Come on, Thornberry.
just deal with it briefly. You'll
Yeah.
make it up later.
Like, come on, boy, you can do it. Let's go. Go, go, go.
Miss. Thornberry wickers back at the
Thornberry!
rushing waters, is unwilling to press through.
it.
And as a result, there will be
Maybe it's a bigger stream than we thought.
Apparently, yeah, like Thornberry, or at least Thornberry thinks so, and it just doesn't believe that he can make it through safely. Wicker's back on heels, and we mark our last countdown box, which means it's time to find out whether or not this was enough. So let's see. Mark that box there. So what we do now is we're going to roll our 2d10s versus those 6 filled in boxes and see how they compare. Nope, not 1d100, 2d10. Alright, we have a 10 and a 1, so we have a weak hit. Which is, let's see, what happens on that? It's resolving the scene challenge. Continue to make the moves until the track is full. Yep. Or you decide to resolve the scene. In either case, roll the challenge dice, compare. Yep. Alright, on a weak hit, you succeed, but not without cost. You must pay the price. Make this a minor cost relative to the scope of the scene. Okay, so the scope of the scene is just escaping. Not necessarily a huge thing. But there is a bit of a cost here that's supposed to be minor. Not dramatic and costly, which is what a miss would be. So I think it might just be that you had, as a result of all this and how we talked about it, you had to leave all the rest of your supplies behind. Like, that just wasn't important. There was, by the time you were able to think about it, like, there was no going back for them, and we can just have this knock your supply down to 0, which would mark you as unprepared out in this wilderness, and at least for the moment, alone. Like, your companions aren't, the other people ran off and aren't, like, necessarily dead, but you've kind of gone your separate ways for a bit. You might have to find them next time.
And things are not going in my favor.
This was not a session that was very...
All my stats are low,
I
and
know.
just like...
All of your stats are 0, or except momentum.
Sucks.
As a result, you are now unprepared. Oh, we already had you marked as unprepared, which you shouldn't have been. It didn't matter mechanically anyway, but now you actually are unprepared. So, yeah, that was not one that was especially friendly to you.
Not cool.
Started off okay. We're like, hey, Moth Musk, and oh, look at that guy who's all like, his attention's all over the place, and it went downhill real fast from there. But hey, you're still alive, and it's probably because of the decisions made to just try and talk your way out of it and get out of it. Survive another day. But yeah, in terms of finding those other people, we're gonna have to see whether or not you're successful at recouping next time. Like, who can we find, who can we not?
This was at night too, right?
Yeah, this was the middle of the night.
So
Middle
I'll
of
have
the
to go
night,
back
so
in
it's
the morning. See.
I imagine things will be
what's
real
left
different
over.
then. But you ride
Finding
off.
carnage.
You ride off into the dark night. The stars not especially and moonlight not giving a lot of light because of the canopy of the forest that you're in, and too frantically to turn around right now and know exactly what's going on. You just have a feeling like you've escaped, but then there's no one else.
I thought we
there.
were done with that city, and there's stupid people in it.
Apparently not. Maybe now, but anyway, this has been another session of Ironsworn. Maybe a little bit rusty tonight on my hand at the very least. It's been a few weeks, but grinding back into the swing of things. I thank you for joining us. Of course, as always, I encourage you to pick up the game for yourself and check it out. It is free to follow along these rules and play your own games that you can do entirely by yourself. It's a great solution right now if you're self-isolating. You don't need to get together with anybody. You can just roll up the game and come up with some cool stories all by yourself. Otherwise, though, I guess I will see you all around. We do this every Tuesday night. I know we were talking about going back to afternoons, but sadly, life got in the way, and I have to do this in evenings again already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So back to the old time that we never really parted from of 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Um, Otherwise, there's a Ori and the Will o' the Wisp stream that I'm doing tomorrow at the same time. If you're a sub, you'll have an opportunity to enter a giveaway. You can get a free copy of the game. I don't know. I'm just all out of stuff, things. My mind isn't here right now.
We're still struggling to get sleep.
Yeah, exactly. There's
At least
definitely
I am. I'm not completely with it either.
there is a factor of that going on as well. I was not so great at falling asleep last night either.
No.
Yeah, I know, right? But
Sleep,
anyway,
what is sleep?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But I will see all of y'all around. Check out the VOD on YouTube if you didn't catch the whole thing. See you later.